and welcome to Too Close to Home Crimes. My name is Snow, and if you're new here, welcome. This is where we talk about everything crime. Old crime, new crime, ongoing crime, just crime. And today we're going to be talking about a case that happened in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. This case is brutal. It's a mass murder, and it affected 3 generations. So let's just get into it. Phu Lam was born in Vietnam in 1961. He immigrated to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada in 1979 when he was 18. He would frequently visit his home country, and in the year 2000, he met Thoi Truong in a coffee shop, and they married 6 months later. Many visits happened before Phu and Thoi decided for her to come and live with him in Edmonton, Canada. Just 3 months after Thoi moved to Edmonton to be with Phu became extremely abusive. Emotionally, physically, financially. And he would control everything. He would control what she could wear, who she could talk to, where she could go. He didn't want her having social media. He would even pick out her outfit for the day. He didn't want her to have a job, but she didn't comply with that. She went there to work, to send money back home to her family. So she did end up getting a job. Thank God. Thoi began to feel lost, unhappy, and longed for genuine love and affection. She began to have an affair in 2004 with an unknown man and fell pregnant with Elvis in 2005. Thoi was unaware if the father of her new baby was Phu's or if it was the unknown man that she's been having the affair with. So she decided to stop the affair and to focus on her new baby and work on the relationship with her husband Phu and try to get into a good place. Phu ended up sponsoring Thoi's family so that they could come and live with them, and they did so in 2009. After Thoi had already been living there for 6 years, Phu started to get suspicious of Thoi, wondering if Elvis was his biological child. So he secretly went and got a DNA test done. And when he got the results not only shocked him, but put him into such rage that was just unhinged. Phu ended up showing Thoi's parents the DNA test results, and they begged him to forgive her for the affair, but Phu declined. Later that night, Phu punched and choked Thoi until her sister ended up calling the police. Thoi applied for a protection order, and Phu moved out of the house, leaving Thoi, their son Elvis, Thoi's mom, dad, sister, and niece to live there alone without him. Finally, some peace. Nah, no peace with Phu, not with Phu around. He started to threaten to kill them all, the whole family, but no one would sell him a gun. The protection order was revoked 2 months later because Thoi never ended up showing up to court. I wonder why. Who convinced her of that? Mr. Phu had declared bankruptcy. He owed so much money. He had about $481,000 in secured and unsecured debt. He also owned dozens of credit cards that were all maxed out. He had a gambling addiction. So this motherfucker was broke and angry, and he could really only think of one way out. He had a plan.
Edmonton police have not yet released results of autopsies performed yesterday on the 8 people shot and killed earlier this week. Investigators are still piecing together the events of Monday's violence, but they say it looks as though the assailant went to a house where he killed 2 men, 3 women, and 2 children. He then went to another house where he killed a woman before heading to a restaurant where he took his own life. Acquaintances have identified the shooter as 53-year-old Phu Lam.
One cold and snowy night in December 2014, Thoi and her mother arrived home after a long shift. Calls and texts from Lam started pouring in, threatening to self-harm. Police received a call asking to come and check on the residence, but nobody answered, and they felt that they had no reason to enter the home. On December 29th, 7 bodies were discovered in that Clairvatin home, all fatally shot, with a 9mm handgun that was later discovered to have been stolen from Surrey, BC. The bodies that were discovered were that of Thoy Churong, Elvis, Thoy's son, Thoy's niece, Valentina, Thoy's sister, Than, Thoy's mother, Thi Dao, Thoy's father, Van Dang, and an acquaintance that was at the house. So there was 2 children that Phu Lam spared. His 1-year-old daughter and his 8-month-old nephew. That was Phu's sister's son. And he took them on December 29th to a relative's house, spent the day there, dropped them off, and then he left there at 6 p.m. and went and drove to a house that was on Haswell Court and 16th Avenue. Phu Lam rings the doorbell and a 10-year-old boy answers, with his mother, Cindy Duong, following closely behind him. He then fatally shoots Cindy Duong right in front of her son, and he's standing there in shock, frozen. Cindy Duong was not the intended target. The Lam family and the Duong family did have relationships, but he didn't go there by accident. She was not the person he intended to shoot. Cindy Duong leaves behind 3 children and a loving husband. So after fatally shooting 8 people in a span of 24 hours, Phu Lam then takes himself with his 9mm gun and goes to the restaurant VN Express, which he did maintenance there, so he had a key, and shoots himself. Commits. To me, what a fucking coward. Fucking coward.
There wasn't a place in that house that there wasn't a deceased or blood or shells or bloody towels, bloody sheets. It was a horrific scene that I don't think any of the policemen that were there were not impacted by that event in some way or another.
I think he probably left for Fort Saskatchewan right after he shot Cindy Duong.
Pretty much almost every day I think about that night, you know. Cindy was in the front living room helping Noah doing his Kumon. So when I was upstairs, doorbell rang. I heard Noah running to the door. He opened the door, 10, 20 to 30 seconds, you know, between that time I hear, you know, a big bang. I ran downstairs on the landing pad and, you know, I saw Cindy laying there. The door was wide open. I didn't see any car or anybody run out. It's so hard for us. The kids, you know, adjusting, but not the same.
That was the case of Phu Lam, the largest mass murderer in Edmonton's history. 9 people ended up dying, 1 being that of himself. Domestic violence is so serious and it's super hard for the victims to get away. It results in this, just a huge tragedy, but it all revolves around domestic violence. Again, my name is Snow. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this one. Till we meet again, which should be in a couple days. I gotta bounce.